Environmental threats are real in Nigeria. I mean, this year we experienced floods in many states. Desertification is also creeping in the northern parts of the country. Now, how are some of these activities, some of them not human, some of them natural, impacting our national parks?
The impact of this floods, desertification on national park is minimal.
Is it?
Yes. Because, like you started saying, you think of getting a virgin forest in Nigeria today, you can only get a virgin forest in a national park. Any other forest outside the national park is no longer in its pristine form, is no longer in its virgin form, because a lot of social, economic activities or human activities, anthropogenic activities will have taken place in such areas. So it is only in a national park that you find virgin forests. And this national park play a vital role. Let me give you an example. The national parks are located in 6 geographical locations of this country. Wherever you find national parks located, the impact of flood is minimal. Take, for example, Taraba and Adamawa states, where you have the Gashaka-Gumti National Park. Flood was recorded in Benue State, but none in Taraba, none in Adamawa. Take the case of Niger and Kwara, where you have the Kaji Lake National Park. Flood was recorded only in the valleys of the River Niger, but not close to areas where you have the national park. It means the trees have acted as buffer to beef off, to at least to prevent flood from getting to these areas. And that is why the Federal Ministry of Environment is encouraging reforestation and afforestation.
And these are all things that people think are just being mouthed. I mean, we hear of these campaigns, even state governments, you know, mount these campaigns, plant a tree, or you see the ceremonies on national television, plant a tree. But do you think that people are aware? If you say that the only place where you get a virgin forest in Nigeria right now is in the national parks,
yes,
it does say something about the vast you know, deforestation that could be happening around the country, perhaps as a result of population explosion and things like that. But are people aware that when we destroy or when we fell trees, we need to plant these trees back? What efforts, I mean, would that fall under your purview as well?
I think this is one important thing the Federal Ministry of Environment is doing, working in close association with the Federal Ministry of Education, so that right in the curriculum of post-primary, tertiary institution, the aspect of the environment is involved. This is why you see a lot of students coming to the national park either for visitation, for research, or for even attachment. And conservation clubs are being established in most schools to encourage these young ones. And the issue of tree planting is always emphasized. Just this year, we have hosted a conservation club in our headquarters there. It was a group of students selected from different schools in the Federal Capital Territory. At least, I'm sure at the end of the conservation club exercise, the student planted not less than 25 trees in our premises. This itself is an addition to whatever trees that will have been planted elsewhere. Don't forget the Great Green Wall. The 11 northern states, the green belt goes across the 11 northern states. The Great Green Wall is doing a great deal of job there, planting, involving the locals, encouraging them to own up the project.
Is that project still going on?
Very well.
Okay, well, you say that that project is going on, but, you know, the National Park Service also has its own job. Do you perceive that the parks are under threat as we speak?
As far as I am concerned, the parks are not under threat.
But there are challenges.
Well, I mean, if you say challenges, quite okay, I agree. But the issue of threats to the parks are not under threat.
You're not
but we have our challenges.
You're not curious as to the kind of threats I mean?
Well,
the threats of, you already talked about how the only pristine forest you'll find are in the national parks.
Yes.
The fact that there is massive deforestation around the country. Don't you think it's only a matter of time before perhaps developers and people will have their eyes on the national park and wondering, why do we have to reserve all of this forest in the name of a national park?
With the effort of the government and the priority the government is giving to environment, we have just discussed the issue of COP23. If the government were not serious about the environmental issue, the president would not have even directed the Minister of Environment to stand in for him at that conference.
But would you really say that we're putting... It's one thing for us to attend fancy conferences. I mean, we always find delegates. Many instances, Nigerians have the largest number of delegates to some of these international conferences.
Yes.
The question is, what impact? How do we implement what it is that are agreed in the conferences? For instance, at the National Park, are you feeling, say, government funding or even private sector funding? Are you feeling any joint funding to ensure that the park service is effective?
The fact that we attend conferences, come back, and people think nothing happens, it's a different case. Remember the Paris Agreement, which was signed by the president. The COP23 is a follow-up to the Paris Agreement. And when Nigeria came back, Nigeria increased its INDC, the nationally intended domestic contribution. That is one way. And it has even instituted the green bond now. These are all geared towards environmental sustainability. So to say that we attend conferences, come back and keep this thing below, I do not agree with that.